topic is from the learning and innovation skills up to communication. So first we have is the critical thinking and problem solving. So when we say critical thinking and problem solving, it is our ability to think carefully when we are faced with a problem or an information. So it means that we should not immediately believe or accept something. Instead, we should analyze the information or the situation and find the best solution. So first we have is the first skill, work together effectively in team, and it has 3 sub-skills. First sub-skill is the establish clear definitions and agreements on the roles of partners in a collaborative process. So it means that everyone in the group must know their roles and responsibilities. Next sub-skill is the keep communication open within teams to carry out tasks. It means that sharing information with your groupmates, sharing ideas with your groupmates, and respecting each other's ideas. And last one is to carefully identify obstacles and address problems cooperatively. It means recognizing problems on the group and then solving it together instead of blaming one person.
So the second skill that a student must have is reasoning skills, where a student uses different types of reasoning skills that is appropriate to the situation. It could be deductive reasoning skills or inductive reasoning skills. So we all know that deductive is from general to specific. So deductive reasoning skills is general fact to a specific answer. So example ani is all humans will die, therefore I will die. So ang general fact ato is all humans will die. All humans will die. Then ang specific is therefore I will die. So gikan sa general fact, iyang gi-broke into pieces or iyang gi-analyze nga. So human man ko, kuan ko kanang mamatay ko, mo na siya example. Then while ang inductive reasoning skills kay bawmantang ang inductive is from specific to general. So inductive reasoning skills is from specific examples to general rule. Example ani is the sun rose in the east yesterday and the sun rose in the east today. Therefore, I conclude that the sun always rises in the east. So, gikan siya sa mga gagmay nga mga information or mga collected information, then iyang gi-mold into a general rule nga makaingon siya nga murag naka-collect siya ba nga ang sun kini rise siya dito sa east gahapon. So, ang sun pud ni rise pud siya dito sa east karon. So, ang sun ato jud mo rise sa east. So mo na siya example sa inductive reasoning skills. So also sa reasoning skills, a student see things as connected whole, not as separate pieces. So they understand how each part influences the others and how things work together to produce results. So para nila is related ang tanan. Everything is related, maapektuhan ang tanan. So example ani hanga, for example, na choices nga ilahang need or na ay problem nga need nila i-solve and then na choices. So ilahang i-check ang every choices kung unsay mga factor nga maapektuhan, then mas i-deeper pa jud nila ang ilahang understanding about ana nga mga choices. If mingon sila if I would choose this or I will choose this kanang choices, maapektuhan ba ang kaano naabay kahay maayo nga result or naaba kahay mahitabo nga dili maayo if kani ang hakong pilion. Monay skill sa reasoning sub-skill sa reasoning skills.
Good day, ma'am. My name is Jay Batran from the Group 1. I'm here to discuss about one of the skill of critical thinking, which is the make judgments and decisions. So it means that using information and evidence to carefully choose the best and the most reasonable option. It has also underlying sub-skill which examines information carefully to determine whether the evidence, the arguments, and beliefs are reliable and trusted. It also considers different opinions and perspective before deciding which one is more better. In addition, it combines and identifies how different pieces of information or arguments are connected. Also, it understands the information and uses the strongest evidence to form a logical conclusion. Basically means thinking what you learn, what worked or did not work, and how can you improve.
I am Angel Sanchez Pino, ma'am, from Group 2. So my assigned topic is all about solve problems, and it has 2 sub-skills. So first, let us define what is solve problems. So when we say solve problems, ma'am, it is the ability to identify a problem, understand its cause, and think of a positive or a best way to solve it. So when you solve a problem, it includes critical thinking, creative decision-making, and practical skills. So now, let us move on to the sub-skills of solve problems. The first sub-skills is solve different kinds of non-familiar problems in both conventional and innovative ways. So when we say conventional way, ma'am, it is the common or well-known way on how to solve such problems. And when we say innovative way, it is the ability to think or create new, different approaches to solve such problems. So for example, ma'am, you are in a public places and imong cell phone is na power off, so or wa may battery, and then you need to contact someone para na imukuha nimo og asa karon. So isolve na nimo siya using conventional ways by like if ever og asa ka karon mangita ka og kasaksakan or kanang kasaksakan nga ma-charge imong cellphone para makontak nimo ang imong gustong kontakon. And then when isolve na nimo siya using innovative ways is mangita ka og like for an instance na kay kaila nga tao adto nga isa ka places, so pwede ka mo borrow siyang cellphone para makuha nimo or ma-text kan ko nimo imong gustong text kan para makuha ka. So makuha nimo ang kalahian sa conventional way ug ang innovative ways. And then the second sub-skill is identify and ask significant questions that clarify various points of view and lead to better solution. So, ang kani ma'am is kanang before ka mag-conclude sa isa ka problema or before ka maghara og solution, you need to ask first og unsa jud nahitabo, unsay cause og unsay kanang kinsay nakasala or unsa jud ang tingod nga hitabo para yung ana if maka-ask na ka sa unsay cause or unsay nahitabo, makahatag na ka og mga mas better nga solution or mas kanang unsa ang effective nga solution para ma-solve nga problema. So for example, in a classroom setting, you are the teacher and then nakabantay ka nga na isa ka students is kanang dili mo participate sa imong klase. So before ka mag-conclude na basid ka nang tapulan siya mong di mo participate sa imong klase, you need to ask first the student if nganong dili siya mo participate sa klase. So in that way, by asking the students, maka-identify ka nga mo din niya kung need nga buhaton para ang kanang students is mo engage akong klase o mo participate. So that would be all. Thank you.
So, to have a better communication skills in 21st century, we must know the meaning of communication first. So, communication is our ability to share our ideas, thoughts, feelings in a different form of communication. For example, by speaking, by writing, by body language, or even in technology. So, we all know that technology is included in 21st century. So in communication, we have skills and sub-skills. So the first is communicate clearly, meaning we need to share our ideas or our thoughts in a way that people can understand or people can easily understand our trying to say. So instead of saying, "Give me that thing," you say, can you pass me the blue notebook, or can you give me that book? So in communicating clearly, we need to be straightforward, and also we need to use simple words to be able to understand easily our ideas.
Soft skills
of communicate clearly. So first is articulate thoughts and ideas effectively using oral, written, and non-verbal communication skills in a variety of forms and contexts. So this means that expressing our ideas clearly, confidently, and appropriately through speaking, writing, body language, and other forms of communication. No, nag-involve pa ni siya o kanang unsaon na to pag-adjust para mo communicate, nagdepende sa audience, purpose, o sa situation. So the second is listen effectively to decipher meaning, including knowledge, values, attitudes, and intention. So kani siya it involves paying close attention to what others are saying and understanding not only their words but also their feelings, beliefs, attitudes, and intentions. So effective listening also requires asking questions, then avoiding interruptions, and responding appropriately. So the third one is use communication for a range of purposes. Example given is to inform, to instruct, to motivate, and persuade. So communication should be used appropriately depending on the desired outcome, whether it is sharing information, giving directions, encouraging others, or convincing someone to consider an idea. So ang good communicator is kanang nakahibaw siya unsaon pagpili sa mga right words and sa ang mga tones, approach para sa for each purposes. So the fourth one is to utilize multiple media and technologies and judge their effectiveness a priori, as well as assess their impact. So this means using appropriate tools and platforms such as presentations, mga social medias, emails, videos, and other digital technologies para makakommunicate effectively. So nag-involve ni siya considering beforehand whether a medium is suitable for the audience and purposes, and evaluating afterward whether it achieves the intended effect.
Now, let's proceed to the fifth to ninth sub-skill under the communication skill. So the fifth one is communicate effectively in diverse environments, including multilingual environments. So it means that we should be able to communicate properly even when we are in different places and talking to people who have different languages, cultures, or backgrounds. So we have an example. So here in the Philippines, we may use English, Filipino, Cebuano, or other languages depending on who we are talking to. Because being a good communicator, it means that we know how to adjust our language and the way we speak depending on the situations and the person we are communicating with. So in simple words, we must know our audience and adjust our way in communicating a certain person. Now let's move on to number 6. Use technology as a tool to research, organize, evaluate, and communicate information. This means that we should know how to use technology not only for entertainment, but also for finding, organizing, checking, and sharing information. For example, we can use Google to research information, Google Docs to organize our work, and PowerPoint or Canva to present our ideas. However, we should also check if the information we gather or we find online is reliable and accurate before sharing it. So in simple words, we should use technology wisely in finding, checking, organizing, and sharing information. Next is number 7. Number 7, it is the use of digital technologies, communication and networking tools, and social networks appropriately. This means that we should know how to use different digital tools and social media properly and responsibly. So here we have an example. So using computers, smartphones, messaging apps, or social media and other online platforms. So those mentioned, we must always remember to use it properly and responsibly to avoid misunderstanding or kanang naay chaos. So let's proceed to the number 8, which is to exercise flexibility and willingness in making necessary compromises to accomplish a common goal. So this means that when we working with other people, we should be flexible and willing to adjust because not everyone will always agree with our ideas. Sometimes we need to listen to others and consider their suggestions and make compromises so that we can reach to our common goal. So this means nga dili ta maging kanang naay makasarili. We should always be considerate sa kanang naay mga suggestions or kanang ideas sa atong kagrupo. Now, let's proceed to the last sub-skill under the communication skill, which is assume shared responsibility for collaborative work and value the individual contributions made by each team member. So, this means that in a group or when we work as a team, everyone has a responsibility. So we should not leave all the work just for one person. So each member should contribute something and be responsible for their assigned task. So also let's always remember that in a group we should pay respect and appreciate the contributions of every team member because of every effort because every effort matters. So for example, in a group presentation, one member may research, another may create the PowerPoint, another one kay mo siya amo explain sa topic, walang other one is mo organize sa presentation. Even though nga kanang ilang mga task is kanang na different from each one ninyo, every contribution nga ilahang nahatag sa inyong team should be kanang naay appreciated. So in simple words, everyone has a role and everyone or every contribution matters. That's all. Thank you.